All right. So, what does a Trump victory look like now for foreign, for the wars that are going on, for some of the big hot button topics for Americans right now? Oh, let's see. What does Fox News have to say about this? Let me read this article here. I don't typically read a lot from Fox News because I like to go to the opposite side, and Fox tends to lean a little bit towards the right, which I just like to go on the other side of the aisle. What does President-elect Donald Trump's win mean for U.S. amid war between Russia and Ukraine? Last week's election of Donald Trump as president of the United States for a second time sent geopolitical shockwaves as the international community waits to see what happens next for U.S. ties abroad, particularly as Russia's war continues in Ukraine. Trump and running mate turned vice president-elect J.D. Vance rallied against the Biden administration's support for Ukraine after Russia's 2022 invasion. And from the campaign trail, the former president said he would bring an end to the war before even entering office. Trump has yet to detail how he will do this. Vance made headlines this year after he suggested that the best way to end the war was for Ukraine to cede the land Russia has seized and for a demilitarized zone to be established, a proposal Ukraine President Vladimir Zelensky flatly rejected. A report Thursday by the Wall Street Journal suggested Vance's controversial suggestions from the campaign trail are now being pushed by multiple advisors close to the president-elect. Trump is not reported to have signed off on any specific steps yet, but according to the Journal, some advisors are encouraging him to push Kiev to agree to terms that would freeze the front lines by creating an 800-mile-long demilitarized zone and allow Russia to keep the land it has illegally seized, which amounts to roughly 20% of Ukraine. It has also been suggested that Kiev should agree not to pursue NATO membership for 20 years, a stipulation that critics of this plan argue kowtows to Russian President Vladimir Putin. Washington Post report on Sunday also claimed Trump had spoken with Putin, where the president-elect told Russian leader not to escalate the war. Trump's transition team would not confirm or deny the call. Zelensky warned this year that appeasing Russia by forcing Ukraine to concede land along with its NATO ambitions would only exacerbate security concerns for Washington and its European allies. Of course, he said that. A bit of a monger, that one. If this were a plan, then America is headed for global conflict, Zelensky said. It would imply that whoever asserts control over territory, not the rightful owner, but whoever came in a month or a week ago with a machine gun in hand, is the one who's in charge. Former CIA Moscow station chief Dan Hoffman told Fox News Digital that officials making these suggestions need to stop treating Ukraine like they're the aggressor state. They don't need to be pushed to make a deal, he said. The question is, how do you induce Putin to come to the table, not Ukraine? If you take things away from Ukraine, you're giving away a lot of whatever leverage you think you might have, Hoffman. Okay, so it seems there's still that resistant pushback to concede on both ends to end this war. Obviously, you're going to have to, if you're Ukraine, you're going to have to concede some land. They took some land, you're going to have to concede some land. But yeah, I think you can kind of negotiate the idea of Ukraine staying out of NATO to give back some of that land. There has to be a demilitarized zone, of course. I think that just goes without saying. That's just going to be something that both sides are going to have to agree to. And yeah, I mean, I think it's I think at this point both are tired of the war, and I think they'll both be looking for an out in some way. But you're going to have to, as with any good negotiation, both are going to have to give up some things that they want in order to come with some kind of resolution. And I think that Trump's going to end up getting there. I think when you start taking the money and the backing the U.S. away from Ukraine, they're gonna be forced to do just that. And I think I think the pre-Biden whatever you want to call it relationship that the U.S. had with Russia will be restored, and I think some of that's going to lead to just whatever you want to call it. It won't be a peace, but it's going to be like basically a ceasefire. So I think Trump's probably the only one that actually gives a shit to do this, and I think he's the only one that has a mandate to do it. So we'll see what he does in the next couple couple months before he takes presidency, because that's where he said he's gonna end this war. I tend to believe him.